What is up, YouTube? D-Rec here with Alliance Rift, and I will be your commentator for this Monday Night Vanguard feature match. And today we have Drag Driver Luard versus Exxtreme Battler Victor in today's feature match. So let's just see how that goes out for both players. I believe this player for the Drag Driver Luard deck is using the Diablo engine, which is the preferred engine currently for the deck until some of the newer support comes out. Some people prefer the just generic Luard engine, which is okay. It has definitely different perks than the Diablo engine, but there are some benefits to using the Diablo stuff. So for this match, I want to see how the Luard player handles a more aggro deck like Victor. So we're going to go into our first turn, and the Victor player is going to ride Kumar the Destroyer and pass the turn. Now, not the Victor player, but the Luard player has a bit of a strategy to go into their early game. Their starter skill allows them to discard a card from hand by pushing it to soul, and you get to scry one and draw a card. So it really allows you to set up your early game plays, especially if you have undesirable grade 1s in hand that you just really don't want to use. And it looks like he's going to discard the Swordbreaker to draw a card, which is really nice. Setting up Ritual. He's going to attack for 11k, and he's going to get the crit trigger right off the bat, giving the Victor player 2 damage at the start of turn 2. So the Victor player is going to go, he's going to ride into Sazanda. He's really going to call his grade 2 lineup and start swinging for multiple attacks to try and even out the damage balance. He's going to get the Victor on the offensive trigger there. And he's going to put the Luard player to 2 damage, tying up the game. So let's see how the Luard player can come back from that. So the Luard player is going to ride and call 2 Black Chain Holes. And he's really going to swing at the rear guards this time around. Because they're even at damage, he can kind of wean off of the Vanguard attacks, especially against an aggro deck like this. You really want to take out their big play rear guards, especially Sazanda, being a guy that can get you can get plus 10 from just a single restand on Victor's skill, or plus 5 off of, like, say, Bustard's skill. That doesn't apply power, but his own skill will give him the plus 5k that it needs to really get over 11k attacks. Excuse me. So for Victor's drive check, he's going to get a heal and a crit. The heal will not go off, but the crit is definitely essential. But in this case, not so much, because the Luard player definitely made a good call on the PG there. And it looks like the Luard player is going to go right into Luard over any of the other Diablo cards. So the Luard player has a couple good first stride opportunities here, but it looks like he's going to go into Carnivore Dragon, and he's going to use Luard's Stride Break to call out Swordbreaker Angel and the Night Sky Eagle. Now, Night Sky Eagle is a very interesting card. It wasn't played too much during the Claire era, but now that we're going into the Luard era, it's a very essential play card now that if you don't have any good grade 2 targets, you can call out Night Sky Eagle, and it'll get the 11k poke at Vanguard that you really want to have and force your opponent to discard cards from hand and waste hand resources. So it looks like he's going to use Carnivore skill to force Victor player to retire his starter, and he's going to get the plus 4k because he's only able to retire 1 unit. But the Vanguard attack is going to be PG'd by the Victor player here. And he gets a draw trigger on his first check, and no additional triggers after that. And we got Hole coming in for 25,000 at the Vanguard. This would be a hefty guard, so it looks like the Victor player is going to be taking that attack. Alright, and the Victor player is going to go into a stride turn. He's going to go Bustard. Now, he doesn't have rear guard right now, but it looks like he has a couple cards in hand he's going to be using for his plays. Bustard by itself is a very unusable. It's more of a vanilla stride. Alright, he gets his cool hand column all set up, so that's really nice. And the crit will allow him to get hand advantage back and some power too. So he's going to intercept for the Gunzork attack at 12k, and then Cool Link's going to come in and give Gunzork a restand and plus 5, so it's now a 17k attacker. Now I'll make the third battle of the turn. And he'll still have about 2 more attacks with Bustard on top of any trigger checks going on here. And it looks like the Luard player is going to take the damage. He's going to get a defensive critical trigger, which is going to be really good, especially if his opponent doesn't get any triggers here. It'll make it easier to guard that Gunzork attack. He's going to PG the Bustard attack there. And it looks like Victor player is going to hold off Victor's Stride Break for Gunzork. And no offensive triggers for the Victor player, unfortunately, this time around. Gunzork coming in for 17k at the Luard player, 16k Vanguard. And it looks like the Luard player is going to take the damage for that attack and go into his turn. Now, Luard's Ritual 3 skill allows the Luard player to put 2 normal units back into the deck to give him free stride for his next stride. So he'll put Swordbreaker and Hole back into the deck in order to get free stride for this turn. So he has a couple options at his disposal, but since his opponent's at 3, he's not going to want to try and push the game right now, even though his opponent doesn't have too many cards in hand. And it looks like he's going to go into Spectral Blaster Diablo for this stride turn. So Luard's Stride Break, retiring Night Sky Eagle for a Swordbreaker, and he could go for a couple different cards if he wants boosters, but it looks like he's going to go for Night Sky Eagle and get plus 4k. So in case he can't call anything from hand, he'll still be able to poke for the 11k. Now, since he's playing the Diablo engine, he definitely can get some pretty good power columns if he gets the right setup going in. If he has a Hole and Kaiden going into the stride turn, he'll definitely be able to set up Spectral Blaster with pretty high attack power and make it harder for the Victor player to guard the attack. So he does have the Hole and Kaiden, so Hole skill is going to give itself and Spectral Blaster plus 3 since he called Kaiden from hand. And it's because it was Kaiden, he'll counter charge and soul charge. So that definitely helps him alleviate some of the costs going into Spectral Blaster plays, especially since Spectral Blaster costs Counterblast 2 on the restand. So he's going to call Vortimer, and he's going to use Vortimer as the retire cost for the initial part of Spectral Blaster's skill. Now it's a little bit odd. He could have one of the options that he had at his disposal was using Luard's Ritual 3, since it happens at the beginning of the ride phase. You could have ridden back into Vortimer and then stridden, and then use Vortimer Stride Break on Spectral Blaster to call a bunch of grade 1s and make Spectral Blaster a much bigger power column. But it looks like he's not trying to push the game this turn because his opponent's at 3 damage. So he's going to kind of lean off that a little bit. But it looks like he's all set up for his attack, so he's going to swing in with Hole and Kaiden first for 19,000 of the Vanguard. And it looks like the Victor player is going to do a double intercept for 21k. Now, Spectral Blaster is going to be swinging in Van for 29,000. And the Victor player is going to G-Guard with Screw and discard for the 2 to pass. And no offensive triggers from the Luard player this time around. But he still has one more attack with the Vanguard, even if it's only at drive 1. It still can be pretty hefty if he gets the critical trigger off. So now, since Kaiden was retired, he gets plus 5 for Spectral Blaster, coming in at 34,000, and no offensive trigger there, but the PG is really nice to have. And since he did hit this time around, Kaiden's skill allows him to search for a grade 1, call it rear guard. He has a couple different options at his disposal, especially going into his next turn if he wants to set up a little bit more. And he still has one more attack with Leophil, and that's for 11. That'll be 22k column because of Leophil's Ritual 3, putting him to 11k by itself and making that a 22k column there. And it looks like with Kaiden's skill, he's going to call out Abyssal Owl, and it's a good setup card for next turn if he goes into either Drag Driver Luard or even Phantom Blaster Diablo. He'll get the free counter charge there, and it'll make the cost of calling 2 units out free. And the 22k attack is going to be taken with the defensive draw trigger. Alright, so the Victor player's turn is coming up now, and he looks like he's going to stride. Now he has no rear guard, so it would kind of put him in a precarious position, but since he went into Victoplasma, by itself it's a pretty decent restander. It doesn't rely on having rear guards like Buster does, so he'll be able to get a restand, but he'll only be swinging for a drive, twin drive for both attacks. And it looks like he's going to go all out here. He only has 1 card left in hand. So he's going to call Kumar out. And Kumar's skill is basically like Sazanda's. When it restands with a card effect, it gains the rush ability to gain plus 5 on attack. And that effect does stack. Unlike some other skills like Success. Success does not stack. Bloom stacks. So different skills apply differently. So in this situation, it would be really good to have Kumar out as a backup Sazanda. So he's going to restand Sazanda, and he's not going to use the crit this time around. He wants to save that for the second attack on Victoplasma. So the double offensive trigger there, the heal and the crit, is going to all go to Kumar the Destroyer, making Kumar a currently 27k attacker. So he's going to restand. He's going to drop the 2 drive checks he had to attack, once more. And no offensive triggers the second time around. But Kumar the Destroyer is sitting at a hefty 27k. So I was going to force a 20k shield from the Luard player. So he's going to come in with Kumar first. And he still has Arbor Rail standing up. So he's going to get one more attack with Kumar the Destroyer before the end of the turn. So he's going to G-Guard Kumar with Plotmaker. And then it looks like he's going to take the Arbor Rail attack for game, putting him to 6 damage. So he had a really good setup in the mid game with Spectral Blaster and Carnivore, but just could not survive the later game with Victoplasma coming in and the double trigger there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please sure to like and subscribe. We're going to be doing a lot more commentaries like this, and we will definitely be seeing you in the next video.